Study Section 3. Major theories to the study of organization. Introduction. Having looked at the meaning and definition of organization and adult education administration, as well as the relationship between organization and administration, we will go further to examine the major theoretical approaches to the study of organization as well as the implications of these approaches for the organization and administration of adult education. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to explain the major theories to the study of organization, analyze the major assumptions underlying the human relations theory of organizations, state the implications of behavioral human relations theories for the organization and administration of adult educators, explain the concept of system theory to the study of organization. What are the criticisms leveled against consistency theory? Need for theories of organization in adult education. It is important you understand that adult education is witnessing fast and tremendous evolution. Its mode, the organization and services, the public demand for adult education, the programs, etc. are changing correspondingly. The administration of adult education is changing. It is no longer easy, safe, or even possible for adult education administrators to rely on their experience alone to organize and implement modern adult educational programs. The modern adult organizer, administrator needs the use of relevant administrative theories and appropriate techniques to successfully manage the modern complex adult educational programs. Hence, it is becoming increasingly imperative that those who will administer adult education programs must have adequate experience, proper administrative training, and a working knowledge of its theories in order to cope with the changing context of adult education administration. The major theories are as below. 1. Scientific management. 2. Administrative management. And 3. Bureaucratic model of organization. Scientific management. As you will realize, the most significant representative of the scientific management is F.W. Taylor, 1856 to 1915, developed his principles of scientific management as he rose from the position of laborer to chief engineer at the Midvale Steel Works in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scientific management embraces the Taylor School and the others investigating and supplementing Taylor's functional concept of management, division of labor, organizational specialization, and professional orientation. Through his functional concept of the management of the workshop, he laid foundations for a further accelerated development of the scientific organization. The totality of Taylor's methods and of those of his collaborators is known in the organizational literature also as Taylorism. He was primarily concerned with manufacturing management and efficiency. He initiated and developed systematic job study, time study, standardization of the job, task specialization, setting of a measured quota of work, wage incentive to induce high output, and careful worker selection and training. He advocated maximum worker productivity rather than restriction of output. He proposed the use of science in managing the shop. He removed the work planning responsibility from the employee and assigned it to a management specialist and proposed a system of factory management called functional foremanship. He also advanced the monitoring of work performance to ensure that specified work procedures are followed correctly and that appropriate results are achieved, as well proposing that managers can help their workers continue to produce at a high level by shielding them from distractions that interfere with job performance. Frederick W. Taylor, is often referred to as the father of scientific management. He was the first efficient expert analyzing the motions people went through in doing their jobs. Taylor and such associates as Henry L. Gant and Lillian and Frank Gilbert applied the methods of scientific management throughout the industrial and commercial world. The philosophy of scientific management is that management practices should be based on proven fact and observation, not on hearsay or guesswork. Contributions of the scientific management theory. It is important you know that the scientific management theory led to the increased mechanization of factories and further acceleration of the Industrial Revolution. It attacked the problem of managing large enterprises by analyzing the work, the worker, and the work environment. The rationalization of work by breaking down tasks into various components and combining like elements led to the development of machines designed to perform many of the most routinized functions. The work of Taylor has led modern managers to improve their employee selection and training processes and to seek the one best way to perform each task. Criticisms of the scientific management theory. People were regarded as powerless instruments. There were no considerations for people. The approach implied that employees can be motivated by financial incentives alone and ignores their social and psychological needs. Administrative management. Here, you will find out that the leading theorists are Henry Fayol, Luther Gulick, Linda Orwick, and James Money. The administration management propaganda promulgated universal principles of organization and management. The French engineer H. Fayol was the first to start a systematic investigation into organization in Europe. In the year 1916, he published his large work entitled Administration Industrielle et Générale. The most important result of Fayol's investigations is the linear division of the common operations into operational functions. Fayol's division of the common operating of the industrial organizations into the operational functions is a fundamental one, and most authors investigating into the operational functions start from this division. He considered the administrative function the most important one. He identified it with the function of administering and managing. The emphasis of his investigations was laid upon the administrative function. He thought that it consisted of the following elements: planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, supervising. He thought that there were 6 fundamental business functions in the developed industrial organization. He is referred to as the father of modern operational management theory. Fayol found that activities of an organization could be divided into 6 groups. 1. Technical, production, manufacturing, etc. 2. Commercial, purchasing, exchange of goods and services. 3. Financial, search for an optimal use of capital. 4. Accounting, stock-taking, balance sheet, etc. 5. Security, protection of lives and property. 6. Managerial, planning, organizing, controlling, directing. Take note that Fayol asserted that all these activities exist in all organizations, be it big, small, educational, political, or religion. Management functions are regarded as universal. He argued that management was an activity common to all human endeavors in business, government, and even in the home. Fayol also opined that the principles of management are flexible, not absolute, and must be unseeable regardless of changing conditions. He listed 14 principles. This element of administration were also considered as the basic text of each head. In his further analysis of the administration, however, he established the organizational principles, the observation of which in practices could make possible for the heirs a successful performance of the administration. Fayol's 14 principles. Principle. Description. Principle. Division of work. Description. A firm's work should be divided into specialized, simplified tasks. Matching task demands with workforce skills and abilities will improve productivity. The management of work should be separated from its performance. Authority and responsibility. Authority is the right to give orders, and responsibility is the obligation to accept the consequences of using authority. No one should possess one without having the other as well. Discipline. Discipline is performing a task with obedience and dedication. It can be expected only when a firm's managers and subordinates agree on the specific behavior that subordinates will perform. Unity of command. Each subordinate should receive orders from only one hierarchical superior. The confusion created by having two or more superiors will undermine authority, discipline, order, and stability. Unity of direction. Each group of activities directed toward the same objective should have only one manager and only one plan. Individuals versus general interest. The interests of individuals and the whole organization must be treated with equal respect. Neither can be allowed to supersede the other. Remuneration of personnel. The pay received by employees must be fair and satisfactory to both them and the firm. Pay should be distributed in proportion to personal performance, but employees' general welfare must not be threatened by unfair incentive payment schemes. Centralization. Centralization is the retention of authority by managers to be used when managers desire greater control. Decentralization should be used if subordinate opinions, counsel, and experience are needed. Scalar chain. The scalar chain is a hierarchical string extending from the uppermost manager to the lowest subordinate. The line of authority follows this chain and is the proper route for organizational communications. Order. Order, or everything in its place, should be instilled whenever possible because it reduces wasted materials and efforts. Jobs should be designed and staffed with order in mind. Bureaucratic management. Bureaucratic management, as you will learn, is a system that relies on detailed rules, procedures, regulations, and characterized by division of labor, a clearly defined hierarchy, and impersonal relationships. Bureaucratic management was developed by a German sociologist, Max Weber, 1864 to 1920. The term bureaucracy has been widely used with invidious connotations directed at government and business. Bureaucracy is an administrative system designed to accomplish large-scale administrative tasks by systematically coordinating the work of many individuals. Weber has observed three types of power in organizations: traditional, charismatic, and rational, legal, or bureaucratic. He has emphasized that bureaucratic type of power is the ideal one. The following features suggest the characteristics of bureaucratic organizations. 1. Administrative class. Bureaucratic organizations generally have administrative class responsible for maintaining coordinative activities of the members. Main features of its class are as follows. 1. People are paid and are whole-time employees. 2. They receive salary and other prerequisites normally based on their positions. 3. Their tenure in the organization is determined by the rules and regulations of the organization. 4. They do not have any proprietary interest in the organization. 5. They are selected for the purpose of employment based on their competence. 2. Hierarchy. The basic feature of bureaucratic organization is that there is hierarchy of positions in the organization. Hierarchy is a system of ranking various positions in descending scale from top to bottom of the organization. In bureaucratic organization, offices also follow the principle of hierarchy, that is, each lower office is subject to control and supervision by higher office. Thus, no office is left uncontrolled in the organization. This is the fundamental concept of hierarchy in bureaucratic organization. This hierarchy serves as lines of communication and delegation of authority. It implies that communication coming down or going up must pass through each position. Similarly, a subordinate will get authority from his immediate superior. However, this hierarchy is not unitary but subpyramid of officials within the large organization corresponding etc. Functional divisions exist. Thus, there are offices with the same amount of authority but with different kinds of functions operating in different areas of competence. For example, in government organizations, we can observe separate offices looking after particular functions. This happens in business organizations too. 3. Division of work. Work of the organization is divided on the basis of specialization so as to take the advantages of division of labor. Each office in the bureaucratic organization has specific sphere of competence. This involves 1. A sphere of obligations to perform functions which has been marked off as part of a systematic division of labor. 2. The provision of the incumbent with necessary authority to carry out these functions. And 3. The necessary means of compulsion are clearly defined and the use is subject to definite conditions. Thus, division of labor tries to ensure that each office has a clearly defined area of competence within the organization and each official knows the areas in which he operates and the areas in which he must abstain from action so that he does not overstep the boundary between his role and those of others. Further, division of labor also tries to ensure that no work is left uncovered. Official rules. A basic and most emphasized feature of bureaucratic organization is that administrative process is continuous and governed by official rules. Bureaucratic organization is the antithesis of ad hoc, temporary and unstable relations. A rational approach to organization calls for a system of maintaining rules to ensure twin requirement of uniformity and coordination of effort by individual members in the organization. These rules are more or less stable and more or less exhaustive. When there is no rule on any aspect of organizational operation, the matter is referred upward for decision, which subsequently becomes precedent for future decision on the similar matter. Rules provide the benefit of stability, continuity, and predictability, and each official knows precisely the outcome of his behavior in a particular matter. 5. In personal relationships. A notable feature of bureaucracy is that relationships among individuals are governed through the system of official authority and rules. Official positions are free from personal involvement, emotions, and sentiment. Thus, decisions are governed by rational factors rather than personal factors. This impersonality concept is used in dealing with organizational relations as well as relations between the organization and outsiders. The strict prescribed impersonal human relations become the obstacle of a further development of a successful adapting of the organizations to the changed conditions of the operating. Microtheories, including the human relations, human management, and social process theories of administration, which are often based on psychological considerations concentrated on the welfare and satisfaction of the individual in the organization. The macro-theories of human relations, which are based on sociology and social services, concentrated on the relationships between the individual welfare and organizational survival. Both micro and macro theories of human relations movement recognize the workers as psychological social beings. Many human relations theorists held that participation in management planning and decision-making yielded positive effects in terms of both morale and productivity. Managers were told that human behavior in the company had both its rational and non-rational components. Feelings, sentiments, and values were legitimate and necessary concerns of the manager. Contribution of human relations behavioral theory. It is important you know that the impact of the human relations school has been great. Many management training programs in both industry and government have contained a heavy component of material in human relations, that is, in motivation, morale, leadership, interpersonal communication, counseling, and listening skills, as well as group dynamics. Its emphasis on the importance of integrated work groups has resulted in important contribution to management theory as well as enhanced the organization of adult education. The implication of these theories to the organization of adult education is that the non-recognition of this theory would endanger the smooth running and efficiency of any adult education process, as adult learners' psychological and sociological needs neglect will demotivate and seemingly alienate them, which will in turn inhibit the success of the process. These possibilities would require adult teachers to engage their adult learning in a close and cordial atmosphere where they enjoy special sociological attention and are being encouraged to participate in the process. The theorists try to demonstrate how humans try to bring aspects of their personality behavior to note. They identify source of motivation, leadership nature, and initiatives as having effect on productivity. The studies contributed to the growth of personal management and human relations and pointed the way to the need to study in detail the information group. Criticisms of the human relations behavioral theory. Neglect of the other factors imposes serious limitations on the usefulness of this theory. The group was criticized for overemphasizing the role of leadership and neglecting the formal and technological structures, even when accepting the legitimacy of controls in the hierarchy of the organization. The group has concerned itself so little with the formal and technological structures. Modern theories of organization. Modern theories of organization are seen by many as attempts to synchronize the classical and neoclassical schools of thought. To a certain extent, such an interpretation is correct, but modern theories should not be seen as a simple synthesis of the previous theories because they are more than that. Modern theorists see an organization as a complex unit in which various types of social groups interact. These groups may or may not share common values, they may or may not cooperate, and they may not be in agreement all the time. According to the modern theorists, there are conflicts between the management and workers, and between the necessities of a formal structure and the needs of the individuals. The modern school further examines the nature of the interrelationship of the organization and its environment. Study section summary. The major approaches to the study of organization include the classical or traditional theories, which belong to three main categories. 1. Scientific management, 2. Administrative management, and 3. Bureaucratic model of organization. 4. The other approach is human relation theory, which concentrated on the welfare and satisfaction of the individual in the relation. The impact of the human relations school has been great. Many management programs in both industry and government contain a heavy component of material in human relations, that is, in motivation, morale, leadership, interpersonal communication, counseling and listening skills, as well as in group dynamics. Other variants of the human relations school include the social science movement and the integrated situational approach. The modern theories include the system and contingency theories. This is the end of study section 3. Thanks for listening.